Alrighty. We're going to be doing broadening formation and practicing what we've been doing previous class, but this time making it bar to bar by making it truly interactive, as well as implementing all of our weapons from our arsenal. Now we can begin. So ideally, let's go all the way to 9. Bam! There we go. 9 a.m. So let's identify our bias in the high time frame. Ideally, we want to have our clear draw of liquidity, and from there what we can work with. So it looks like we are just accumulating. This is nasty 4-hour price action. That range is truly something else. We pushed down, swept some 4-hour sell side, but we came back into the range right here. So I'm kind of on the fence with the 4-hour time frame. Let's look at the daily. Not much information to work with in the daily, but we do have all of this accumulation happening in the 1 hour, 15-minute time frame. Let's see if we can draw out the broadening formation here. Okay, pretty sure it would look like this, since this is the consolidation. I'm pretty sure it would be that. That would be our broadening formation. Now if we go to our 5-minute, yeah, right? Okay. So with that being our broadening formation, we also have a smaller one here in the 5-minute. We have, I guess this one right here. I don't think we're gonna need the 5-minute one here. So we have that. Now we want to trace the 1 hour to find midnight. Where is midnight? Midnight is right there. There we go. Now, our draw of liquidity is kind of indecisive because high time frame we're just consolidating in a range in the 4-hour time frame, the 1 hour time frame. So we're going to be making our bias based on the 5, 15, and 1 minute time frame, and the current structure that's been developing right there. So first off, 15-minute doesn't really give me much information to work with other than the fact that we are in this SIBI and we have respected midnight, and we also ended up pushing below midnight. 5-minute. 5-minute is showing me how we did take out internal liquidity in this range. We took out some sell side right before hammering down with a sell off, and we did not take out any buy side, any sell side yet. We ended up taking the buy side, not the sell side. So we could end up pushing from here back down here, but as a confluence that we have supporting price right now, we have a 5-minute BPR that's technically been respecting quite nicely. This is one of the situations where, for me, I would like to see where price will close, if it closes above midnight, or if it breaks this bullish structure to make a sell setup. I think based on the data that we have in the 5 and 15-minute time frame, we don't necessarily need to depend on the 1-minute time frame for our bias. But if we look at the 1-minute time frame, it's obviously in bullish structure and it is making trend line liquidity right here. Something that we can end up pursuing right after it fails to expand higher. Now, let's go to the 5-minute time frame and let's wait till we get 9:30. Okay, let me just slow it down. So we get 9:05, we tap midnight, we instantly reject it. If we look at it from the 15-minute, it looks like we straight up tapped 15-minute midnight as well, and came right back down. 1-minute time frame, it's looking like we may make a potential 1-minute 2022 model. with quite the move down there. Looks like we made a stop rate and we might leave with a market structure shift right here. If it closes below, that's it. Kind of closed below. So now we have a 1 minute 2022 model. Now keep in mind, it is currently 9:11. Would you guys look for a short setup, or would you be looking for a long setup, keeping in mind all of the information prior? If you want to look at a specific time frame, just make the request and I'll put it up. Why do you think it usually goes wrong for you, Greg? Okay. The second point is interesting, right? A lot of people do wait for the market open to enter their positions immediately right after. The options market, especially the stock market itself, opens and starts moving at 9:30, but it's also a nice volatility injection for where price manipulates. So if we're expecting a manipulation to happen, 9:30 most often is the one to make the move or the false move before distributing the opposite direction. Jazz like short, Birdie says long. Why are you saying long, Birdie? I'll tell you what, I vouch for the shorts as well. Just because of how the 5-minute rejected midnight hit this 5-minute breaker right here, and technically is doing an inducement by taking out this high. 15-minute time frame is still in the 15-minute SIBI. So right now everything that we have going on is telling me bearish. Now there is the risk, the fact that it's almost 9:30. But if order flows to be truly bearish, this will succeed in sending price lower. Let's see if it makes that swing high. So it inversed it. So there's no swing high made. That's how easily we can avoid losses. That's why it's kind of best to wait for a swing high or swing low to be made. And that's a mistake that I did earlier today. If you look at the trade that we took where I ended up catching a knife, in fact, let me switch the screen to trading view. Because today there were some little mistakes that happened that could have absolutely been avoidable. Let me go to trading view real quick. So, can you guys see trading view? Right, should be able to. So let's talk about the actual knife that I ate, because that was something else. I ate 2 knives technically. I believe it was this one. Okay, so this is the importance of waiting for price to respect a certain PD raise, and what happens when you're impatient. So in this very moment that I went long, right, my draw was higher, so I obviously looked for longs, but I wasn't really patient. When price pushed higher in this instant, it never made a new swing high. It did close above the SIBI, but no new swing high was made. This was still the predominant swing high. This was still technically respecting the PD array, and although it kind of looked like it was about to invalidate, it didn't truly give us that firm confirmation with strength that it was in fact invalidating. So I jumped the gun by assuming that it truly was going to, and ended up eating that entire move down. It's one of those scenarios where you really want to be patient and you want to wait for structure to give you that clear sign. Because let's compare this one right here, right? This one, we had a swing high right here, right? This is swing high. We were technically respecting the PD array. I did not enter, I waited. Then we closed above and made a new swing high above the PD array. So we were showing that we were disrespecting it, showing invalidation for it. I was willing to then give it another try around here. I know my average was around here. Because now at this point, it was showing clear sign of disrespect. It was no longer respecting the PD array. In fact, it inversed the BPR, which is what our confluence was for the long, right here. So it was giving us signs that it did in fact want it to go higher. Here, it wasn't really giving us that many signs. I was naive to trust that it was gonna just shoot up. I should have been more patient and I could have avoided this completely. An alternative though, let's say this one right here. This is different, I would say, because in this case we did end up closing above. We made a swing high all the way above. I would be fine taking this as a loss any point of the day because this was absolutely a decent trade in my eyes, something worth taking. And we gave it a shot. We were in profit, but 953 rejected us and we ended up having to cut for a loss. Nothing to be done there other than accept the fact that you're wrong, wait patiently and catch another trade. Some trades in your system are never going to work and that's completely okay, as long as you have proper risk management so these things that happen don't ruin you. In this case, this was also a bit of drawdown, but this was the one that could have definitely been better. And comparing this to the one from FX replay, let's go back to FX replay. Right, we can see here, never a swing high, showing that it's respecting DCB right here. So unless you're aiming for an IO Fed, there's no reason to enter short here, especially with 930 right around the corner. But now we're pushing all the way up here, back to the breaker, back to midnight. Let's see what happens for the very third time. Speed it up a bit. Okay. That's the great trade that killed me this morning. Yeah, it was a tough trade with the volatility. And that's why it's important to size lighter when the market is very volatile. But we're still in profit in the second distribution that caught you. Yeah, relatively. But it's just one of those things that you can ideally have your probability of success greater by identifying certain things and being a bit more patient. Now in this instance, we are pushing into 929. Let's wait for 930. All right, 930. We're now above midnight. So we completely invalidated the 1 minute bearish model. Completely ran through, swing high taken, that's ran through, invalidated. If you look at the 5 minute time frame, now we're having some 5 minute time frame that's justifying potential longs. We are above midnight. We have a 5 minute busy right here, and it's about to be 9:30. Oh yeah, 100%. I would definitely take the setup any other day. Some days it's gonna work beautifully, and some days it's gonna be like today that the setup just didn't work. And it's gonna be one of those moments. But as long as you're consistent with it, it will be fine in the long run. And my question for you guys, keeping in mind this, would you attempt to go long on midnight or in this busy? Right here. You'd wait till 10. Valid, valid. Yes, it did not take out this external liquidity yet. Let's see if we manipulate lower by 9:30. There's the manipulation lower. It is 9:35. Now, back below midnight we go. So according to Frieden, the way that we kind of measure it is by points of consolidation with the swing high and swing low. So for the 5 minute, we are kind of consolidating here. So I'm pointing from this swing low to this swing high and connecting to the nearest high and to the nearest low, which would be these. But if we go to the 15-minute time frame, since there's a lot more consolidation, this is the swing high and swing low in the manipulative swing that leads with consolidation. So this would be how I'm measuring it from up to down. Does that kind of make sense? So you take this the swing of manipulation within consolidation, and you measure that swing high and swing low, and you connect it to the nearest continuous higher high or higher low, or lower low, my bad. All right, but now in this 5 minute, I need to see this 5 minute be respected if I'm going to go long. Technically, it's respecting, but it's still suffering to close above midnight. We have this CB right here. Now, it looks like it is going to close above the CB. Well, technically it did close above it, so you could consider that it's inversed. But it's because of how it's struggling. I would have given it time, had that leg up, I mean. Now, would you go long here? It is currently 9:45. Would you go long in that slight retracement expecting buy side liquidity? This is how it looks in the 5 minute. This is how it looks in the 15 minute. Closed above the 15 minute. CB. It's 9:45. Yeah, let's see how we do. So, longs were the right move here. Now, if you guys remember from previous classes, we talked about using the invalidation of a model for a confluence for the opposite direction trade. Remember how we had this whole narrative spinning for a downside move? We had a 5 minute CB, 5 minute breaker, 5 minute midnight tap, and 15 minute CB. That's a whole bunch of bearish PDRH suggesting that we're gonna go lower. And to put the cherry on the very top, we had a 1 minute 2022 model. If all of that is to fail right before our eyes, what could it mean? That there's unfinished business for upside liquidity. Now that could be any internal liquidity for sure, but it could also most likely be the external liquidity. And being that hint in itself, it gives you that extra probability that it's most likely to go to the upside. The first sign was the respect of the 5 minute. Technically, you could have longed here. But if you wanted that extra confirmation, you could have waited for the invalidation of the CB. The moment we did this slight expansion right here, that pretty much confirms the probability that it's most likely to go all the way up here. Now, it did take out an internal liquidity, but I would be betting that's going to take out this external one. So I want to see that continuation go. So now it became a little bit more iffy. Came right back down. It did kind of... Oh, wait. Did it actually take it out? By a wick? Well, I mean, it made equal highs. So I guess you could say... that it worked. It made equal highs. And as it made equal highs, we have 953 here. No, for sure. This would have been one of those moments where you kind of manually exit or you get filled out if you had this limit at the buy side. Alright, so now that happened, we look for the opposite direction trade. Buy side has been swept. We balance between two PD arrays, the buy side, the civvy, and the busy. Which side won? We waited for the confirmation. The bearish one won. There's our confirmation. Now we look for the opposite direction. So, using the 5-minute time frame, real simple. Same kind of logic. We now have a 5-minute market structure shift as well. So, because we have all of this confluence right here, you could say that the moment it retraces to this 5-minute breaker or to midnight itself, it will continue going towards the very downside move here. Now let's see if we get a retracement. No retracement. Probably news. Who could say? Nasdaq loves to make these sort of moves, but I am curious. Do we get a broadening formation trade? I wanted to hit the very bottom of this. Let's speed it up a bit. Alright, we didn't tap the very bottom of the broadening formation. We didn't take out the external sell side either, but we did take out some internal sell side right here. It is currently 1050 for the 1050 macro. We have 1034 right here. And we have currently inversed this CB right here. And it looks like we're about to inverse this CB right here as well. Potentially, right? There may be an S&T with S. Now, since we've done this, upon the invalidation, the close above 1034, I would say we could be relatively bullish for continuation higher. And we ended up being bullish for continuation higher. All right, Nasdaq V-shape straight up. Hit 953 to the T, closed below it, rejected, tapped midnight. What day that was. I want to see it tap the broadening formation. Okay, we hit the broadening formation. Now let's just look for a short. Let's assume this is live price and we're trying to catch a short now. Since this is a 15-minute broadening formation, I have to see if it closes. How it closes with the candle. Oh, this is a 5-minute, not a 15-minute. Alright, shut up. So that would be, I guess that would be invalidated. Sometimes it passes through. I'll speed it up a bit more. Because I'm more interested in taking a trade that's confluence with this. Although it doesn't have to be. Alright. So now it ended up doing the 15-minute. So we're going to be using the 50-minute broadening formation, which is this one that we have right here. It tapped to the very tick and rejected. Let's see, we have our confluence, right? We want to make this, we want to try and identify if this is A plus. So if we were to take this is technically around 1 standard deviation if we take the whole swing, but take it from this, we hit almost 4 standard deviations, and we're at deep premium. So let's see if we can find the justification for a short model here. Tap the broadening formation again, tapped it again, a knife. No opportunity to really go short. Let's see if we get a retracement. There's the retracement. So, do we short? I'll take that. Came right back up. So I would have been wrong. In fact, I'm curious if I took that trade as well, because I feel like I did. It gives me a little bit of deja vu. I want to look at my section real quick. That was the 9th of April. So let me just scroll all the way up to the 9th of April real quick. Just out of curiosity. Da, 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 da. Oh wait, what time is this? Oh, this is the PM session. Never mind. I didn't take this trade, but that would have caught me. Still respecting the broadening formation. So we're still respecting it. Never closed above it, so there's no reason to actually cut there. But it did run through right through this BPR that I had. So round 2. We have this inverse. I'll try the short here again. Give me a retracement. This is kind of chasing it, but just to kind of play with the model in itself, I'll take it. I'm gonna wait till it hits the draw. There it is. Okay. So this would have been an instance where the broadening formation worked. Now, technically, I don't see a world where I wouldn't have been stopped out if I went short here. I would have definitely cut this upon the close of this. The re-entry for sure would have taken it. Would have held that as well until it got invalidated. And then we would have hit the high score of that move down there. But, like I was saying, the broadening formation respected to pretty much very nicely. It was a 50-minute one too. So if you had slap short there, that would have been the very tippity top. It's a good confluence. In this case, I do kind of blame the price action after it tapped, because there's no way I would have been able to hold the short here. I would have straight up thought that it was going to close above it. But using, you know, the setup that formed right after and everything like that would have been a good catch. And the account is at break even from one trade. Look at. Now I'm curious, does it come all the way down here? to the very bottom of it. I want to speed it up because I want to see if it does. If it hits this, I'm going to slap along just out of curiosity. Oh, wait, came all the way to the top again. All right, so let's look for a short model. This would be kind of trading Asia. I mean, screw it, right? We're experimenting here. So let's assume that we take a short in that city right here in Asia. Assuming that now that I hit the broadening formation toppity top, it's going to come back into a discount. Speed it up a bit. Well, trade would be in profit. Does it continue being in profit though? It just consolidates. What time is it? It's London session now. That's London session volatility. Oh no, that's already 7 a.m. Okay, so technically it typically topped but didn't really come back to discount. What happens here? Well, it technically would have worked. Wait a minute. No, let's go to the 5. Alright, let's measure. This is a new day technically, so at the same time we're going to measure a new broadening formation. So you have that one. Then we would have this one. There's no way that it tapped. Oh yeah, I was about to say there's no way that it'd be tapped like that. But this would be our internal one for the 5. Let's try and find a long, assuming that it's going to tap this right here. Does it tap it? If it comes all the way up. Look at that! The respect of that. That's insane. Okay. Clean rejection. Came all the way down. Didn't even retrace the BPR. This would be where I try to enter short. So we're going to see if it comes back up here. And we can get a short move. Ah! What the? Huh? 12:30? What happened there? Is this FOMC? Am I not in New York time? Oh wait, no, I wasn't in New York time. Well, that made things funny. But still, the trades worked. So we're at 8:10. So this was NFP. This must have been NFP. Or CPI. Pretty cool though. But excluding the fact that that happened, it did tap it perfectly here. And technically, I think this would have been a setup in itself. Because let's see what tier this would have been. for freedom. We nearly hit 4 standard deviations, and we were in the Sibi right here. So I think he would have slapped it. And it still would have made 20 points. That's a nice. But now let's see. Yeah, CPI. Alright, let's see if it ends up hitting our 15-minute previous one. We're gonna try longing down here. This would be a turtle soup by wiping out all of that cell side, and ideally the broadening formation tap. Oh! Look at that tap. Does it continue going down though? So that was a turtle soup, with how it tapped cell side, but it didn't tap the broadening formation. Lots of accumulation going on right there. I'm gonna speed it up a bit. I really want to see it dump. Alright, kind of just ended the day there. Alright, whatever. So I guess that didn't work right there. We're gonna keep it there though. Alright, drawing another one. Lots of accumulation going on right here. So, how would we draw this one? Very swing high, very swing low. I think this would be kind of like this. And this one would be kind of like that. Since this is the highest point. Let's slow it down because now it is 10 a.m. Let's go to the 1 minute time frame. We do actually want to try and trade these. Okay, well, we did inverse this pretty. Oh, well, we haven't closed too firmly up, so I guess just wait a bit. Alright. So let's actually take this as a normal trade. So we expanded after we took out the consolidation lows right here. Shoot up. Took out the liquidity from there. Retraced into the 5-minute busy. Retraced into the 15-minute BPR. We are in a 15-minute SIBI as well, but if we go to the 1 minute time frame, we have inversed the SIBI right here. Would you guys go long, or would you want specific data, or would you just be patient and wait? Cryptic is longing it. Who else? Greg is longing it. Let's see. There we go. That would be stop at break even right after. I don't know how to do that here, so we're just going to assume stop is at break even. Now, why was this one trustworthy? Similar to the last one that we took. Clear invalidation of the PD array with firm movement for potential continuation. It is also the fact that we already swept all of the sell side, so we don't necessarily need to come back lower for unfinished business, and we ended up respecting the high time frame PD array that was around here. Now it is likely that price might try to come take out this buy side and potentially the broadening formation. or break even. Now it's a little bit different because we ended up taking more highs and prices started to disrespect certain bullish PD arrays. So we had this inverse right here. And this is the point where you would ideally raise your stop to the swing low to secure some gains in profit, or you hold it. It didn't, oh, it took out the buy, it took out the buy side, but it didn't hit the broadening formation. And that's another SIBI right here. So this would have been where you exit and you watch to see if it inverses to short. Now this is where you kind of watch it, but it ran right through. So that would have been a successful trade. Let's see, however, if it respects the broadening formation. No, did not respect it. So it's not respecting the 5-minute ones, but let's see if it comes back all the way to the one that we drew in the 15-minute a long time ago. I would slap a short if it slaps it, if it taps it. All right, it tapped it. Science. Science is looking a little bit doubtful. I don't really know what to make out of this so far. If we use the 1 hour one, this is how the 1 hour one looks like. Well, let's delete the 1 hour one. Let's look at it back through the lens of the 15-minute time frame, because it is the 50-minute one. So it did close above it, but it ended up reclaiming, and right after it claimed, it ended up respecting it, and we had a drop, and then just straight up sold off. But if we measured the 1 hour one specifically, at no point was the 1 hour one disrespected. You can see that it technically topped it again. So it's definitely a nice kind of confluence for the direction. And I see how Freedom gets its large swings. As if it comes all the way down to this one. This would be the TP. Obviously with assuming standard deviations and everything. Speed it up. Has to hit this. Oh, look at that. It tapped it right there. Bottomed out. So, well, of course, Freedom is a swing trader. So if we had, what exactly, we slapped the top of the BF, that would have been 1,200 point swing. So that's how he does it. Wow, what a magician, that man. So that would have been the absolute exit for him if he had taken this as a short. And this happened at London, and this happened in Asia. All right, let's see what happened. Okay, but it hit the very bottom. So now that I hit the very bottom, we're gonna look for a long. An assumption that's gonna come all the way up, right? What time is it? It's 5. Okay, let's go all the way to New York session. We're gonna wait till 9:30. How many days did it take? That's a good question. Let's see. How many days did it take from top to bottom? It took a whole week. It took a whole week for it to come true. Oh yeah, for sure. This is great. Even for like biased. Like if you see this and you have your bias that's going to come to the broadening formation downside, you could just end up having a bearish bias all the time, short, 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 short. And I've been meaning to get into swing trading, so this is like key for me here. Though that's broadening formation. Alright, so now it's 9. So now that it's 9 a.m. That's great. Like even if we from the very tick, if you had just blindly slapped the BF from down there, you'd be up 200 points. Okay, but let's assume we wake up, we see what just happened one day, our 4-hour time frame, oh, I moved that. Our forward time frame is showing us this. We're about to close and inverse this 4-hour SIBI. Pretty bullish. Going to the 1-hour time frame, we have inversed a bunch of SIBIs. Pretty bullish. So let's look at the 15-minute structure. We have a 15-minute busy right here that we can come back into and then shoot up. That would be what I'm looking for. 5-minute wise, yeah, we have. That's absolutely true. We have this 5-minute one right here. That's a good area to look for long too, since we have our bullish bias. Now let's not be negligent though. Where is midnight? Midnight is all the way down here. So that's not going to be helpful. But I want to experiment this. So I'm going to wait for it to push down to the 5. Bam. Pushed all the way to the 15-minute. Came right back up. For the manipulation there. Still respecting the 15-minute. And then came back down. So that'd be close. It's going to come back down here. I want to see if it taps the broadening formation again. Let's try it. Long right there. Okay, so it would have worked for a bit until it hit midnight to the T and rejected that. Let's look at it from the hourly time frame. So in the hourly time frame, it looks like it just straight up respected it. It doesn't look like it closed below it or disrespected it. Wait, why does that appear like that there and not like this? Huh. That's a bit weird. Does it come all the way up though? Is my question. Well, yeah, technically came all the way. So for day trading aspect, that right there would have been a failed for a long trade. Day trade. Well, not really. We would have been able to secure at midnight when we went long. We would have been a bit in drawdown, but then we would have had the confluence to go all the way to midnight, and that would have been our exit for sure, day trading wise. Swing trading wise, we never really invalidated. You can see by the wicks that we technically respected it, and although there was some drawdown, it did end up expanding to the buy side. And now, before we end this session, I want to see if it comes all the way up. Okay, that would have taken too long. That would have taken too long for the swing. So never mind. I feel like that was an entire month. But respected. This is definitely really cool. A really solid confluence for direction as well as for entries. And yeah, you started from consolidation. And obviously it's fractal, right? For example, here we have consolidation going on right now. So if I was to try and do it here, right, I would have to do it with, I think it would be like this. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it would be like that. That looks ugly, but I think it would be that. Let's test it out. Oh, I messed up. Too fast. Oh, but here's another one. This case, it would have been here. But this one did end up pushing way above it. And it would have been like this. Okay, well, this is one of those examples, right? So in this case, came all the way down. This would have been good for longs. Came all the way up here. Oh, but that's with the charting like that, so never mind. But it would have been good for longs. And then it became invalidated. Let's see how it would have been in the 15-minute time frame. No, yes, then I would say that would have been invalidation. All right, interesting session. I'm not obviously a master at BF. I think I'm still learning it, so I wouldn't be able to answer any adequate questions that you guys might have. So if you guys have any specific questions of BF, you should ask Friedent in London session. But if you guys have any cues you'd like to ask before we end this backtesting session, go ahead. Yeah, in fact, we used BF today. You can technically use it fractally in any time frame. What date was this specifically? Or do you mean like what day did I use it? Because the way that I used it in TradingView, hold on, let me just finish the recording.